Broadside, day 993. Yesterday, I got out of work. I decided to quit about 2 o'clock yesterday, so I went back to the house. I went there 30 minutes. A buddy of mine called me and was like, hey, you want to go so-and-so for grab some food and whatnot? I'm like, yeah, that's fine. What time are we talking? He's like, just like in a couple hours, whatever. I said, but I got to run a couple errands first. I'm like, all right, whatever. So he swings by like an hour later, picks me up. It's like 3-something, you know. We were going to go eat at like 5 or whatnot. I'm like, where do we have to go? He's like, I got to run by the mall up here. So we drive to a neighboring city and we go to the mall. And we walk in and I'm like, what are we doing? He's like, oh, I got to get some shoes. I'm like, you shop for shoes at the mall? You know? And he's like, yeah, I was like, where are we going? He's like, Journeys. I'm like, Journeys? What are you, 17? He's like, I need some Chuck Taylors or whatever those Converse shoes. I'm like, oh God, you know, what are you, Dr. J in 74? You know, so he goes into Journeys. I refuse to walk into Journeys. I was like, you should go to like Journey Kids or something. This is just dumb. So I go sit down, right, in like a little area where there's a couple benches facing each other or whatnot. And it ain't 2 minutes later, this dude walks over and he sits down like across from me, or, you know, kind of adjacent in a way. And when he sits down, I notice that his fly is ajar, his zipper to his pants, and like noticeably, like it's got whatever undergarment he was wearing was just flapping in the breeze, like everything was out. You know, I'm surprised there wasn't like some you know, improprieties with his wang bar going on there in the mall. So I politely, you know, as I would want done to me, I said, hey man, your fly is open. And he looks at me and says something like, what are you, gay? And I'm like, what? And he's like, you gay, meat gazer? And I'm like, pretty sure I'm not gay. I feel like, I mean, to me, I'm 50 years old. I feel like it would have come out by now. Like, I feel like it would have hit me and I've been like, you know, hey, you might be gay. But I don't think I am. I think women have always kind of been fine, you know. And they do everything that, you know, I could want out of life, and I enjoy their company. My point is, he went on with this like a couple more rounds, and finally I was like, all right, whatever. And you know what this is? This is me trying to be nice and getting spit on, basically. What this is a guy who dates a girl, treats her like total crap, lies and cheats on her, and then ruins it for every guy that comes after this seemingly nice girl, right? She's never going to trust another dude. You know, she's going to keep getting burned and all this stuff. And what that means for me is that'll be the last time I ever talk to another dude about his fly being ajar. And not because I'm afraid of being accused of being gay. I could care less if you think I'm gay. It doesn't matter. You know, the girl I'm with, like, she knows I'm not gay, and I don't really think I care outside of that. My point is this. I'm not about to get in a fight with somebody in a mall, because I felt like that's what it was coming to. I'm like, I'm going to have to fight a dude with his fly down. I wonder if he's going to zip his fly up before we get up and square off here on the 3rd level of the mall, or wherever the hell we were, you know? And so, you know, my buddy comes out, and I'm like, he's like, you know, showing off his... I said, no, I don't care about your shoes. You know, get in the car. I was like, how about I got in a fight about some dude's fly? He's like, what? I'm like, it's not important. So then we go, and we have to stop by his grandmother's house. And I'm like, what do we got to get here? He's like, I don't know, something for my mom. I don't even know. It's like a bag of something or whatever. So we go in, and I had never met his grandmother. Delightful lady. You know, it smelled like pie in the house. I felt like we needed to stay there and eat for dinner, but, you know, whatever. We went and go drop $40 somewhere else. So, I go in there, and he's like, Nana, or whatever the hell he called her. He's like, I'm here, or whatever, just walks on in. I'm like, what if your grandma's like getting out of the shower? She's like, she doesn't shower. I'm like, what? And I'm like, nothing. And I'm like, what are we talking about? Your grandmother doesn't shower. I think he was saying like she doesn't, you know, old ladies only wash their hair like once every 4 months. I think he was talking about that. I smelled pie, I didn't smell BO, so I feel like his grandmother probably showers, you know, but I think she's a widow, so maybe she just lets herself go, and she's like, I haven't done anything today. I just, you know, knitted a throw pillow. Can you knit a throw pillow? I don't know. And, you know, made a pie. I didn't really sweat today. I'll just not shower. Anyway, she's like, oh, hey, honey, it's on the Davenport. And I was like, it's on the what? What's on the what? The Davenport? I was like, what the hell's it? Are we in Connecticut? What kind of town is that? You know, and he goes right over to a couch, a sofa, as I recall what they're named, and he picks up this bag across the room, and I'm like, is that a Davenport? He's like, yeah, it's like a couch. And I'm like, why did she call it a couch? It's 2026. We're trying to run a civilization here, you know? And he's like, oh, we just always called it a Davenport. I said, I've known you for how long? And all this time, your dumb ass refers to couches as Davenports, you know? And then she comes in the room. She's like, did you find it? And all, then they hug and everything. And I'm like, what the hell is going on? Davenport? I had to go look it up later. Apparently that was a name of a company, so like their couches were called Davenports. I couldn't get behind that, you know. Davenport sounds like some kind of like, you know, British like oligarch, you know, or no, not an oligarch, a socialite, you know, just Davenport. I'll have the brandy. You know, I don't know, man. We left. Dinner was fine, but I told him when we got back in the car, I was like, listen. I said, if you ever want to go eat again, that's great and all. I said, but don't ever take me on any of your errands again. I said, because I about got in a fight and I about like lost my shit just listening to Davin. I mean, that is so dumb. Like you're using words that are so antiquated. I can't remember what I read, but like Davenport Company went out of business like 200 years ago. Like nobody calls it that. Anyway, I've talked about that enough. And the last thing I'll say is this. I was watching these cons, you know. These people come, they go to these cons where they meet all these famous people, you know. Like, they had, like, the dude, like, the bad guy, Francis, I want to say, from Pee-wee's Big Adventure. Jason Patrick from the Lost Boys. Elvira. I don't remember. Just a bunch of random smattering of people. And you go up there, and I don't follow him, but I see this guy quite frequently. I think he's on the spectrum. He's got a weird underbite, but he's real tall. And he's always taking pictures with these people. And I'm like, what is this dude's budget? Because I paused it at the Jason Patrick part. And he's charging $80 for a photograph, or for a, what do you call it, a signature. $60 for a selfie. Which I don't know, I think that just means you take a picture yourself. I don't know why he would charge me for that. But and then $100 for both, right? First of all, I don't know why his signature is worth more than, I mean, I guess because it's worth more on the internet if you want to sell a Jason Patrick. Who the hell's buying Jason Patrick signatures? Anyway, I mean, the dude can't even put a K on the end of his name. So, but I see him, and he'll post these videos. He'll go to these cons in a weekend, and I'm not kidding. He'll have 30 pictures with people. And I'm like, doing the math, carry the two. Like, what kind of budget has this guy got for photographs? I mean, if you dropped $80, and you know these guys aren't like, you know, talking a lot, because it's got to be like, it's got to be the worst part of their existence, the fact that they, you know, I've talked about this before, like they're just such, they need the money so bad. But then again, there's people like Ralph Macchio who just did the Karate Kid, what's it called, Cobra Kai. You wouldn't think he would need the money, but he's still doing these things. I don't get it, because it's so cringy. You know, the dudes, you know, they got that like 6th grade dance where your titties ain't touching a guy, you know, you're away from them when they're hugging, and some people don't want to be, everybody fist bumps because they don't want to shake these weirdos' hands. But I mean, a dude that drops like $4 grand on like selfies and autographs in a weekend, I don't know if that's like just straight up balling or just idiocy. I'm leaning towards idiocy. Much like the idiot that I went to dinner with last night, who I'm thinking about deleting his number. Davenport, I swear. Y'all have a good one, Giddy.